Tabitha, same question to you.
So what was it like when I first got into ballroom? We always come up with this saying around magical. And that is definitely the word. I too was a part of a dance school back in the day. It was called the Bugle Boy Posse, but I was a pupil that I always told everyone that. And this is pre-transition. And my best friend Myra, God rest her soul, had took me to the village on Christopher Street, and when I went to Christopher Street, this is now not the new Christopher Street for those who traveled to the States and was able to see the historical space. It's beautiful now. You have like grass and water fountains and dog parks and, all those great things. But when I came down there, you was happy to just put your blanket out there and have the music, and the cars would drive up on the pier, kind of like what certain people saw in photos with the people on the pier voguing and stuff like that. That was the pier that I know. That was the feeling that I got when I got introduced to ballroom. It was during the height of the HIV pandemic, epidemic, where there were a lot of people dying and people were displaced just because they were queer. And you felt family, you felt friends that you could get with, and then you met your house mother. At that time, she was probably your girlfriend who showed you the ropes, and she became your mother or your father. And then they would bring you into the house, and you would meet all these other beautiful, talented queer people who are celebrated in the space. So it's very magical. My first time stepping on the floor, like anyone, of course, it's definitely going to be nerve-wracking. You're anxious, you want to get out there, you want to put it on the floor. And, not known to many, but for those who know me, I used to be a great performer. I'm a little bit old now, so I'm not different like some of y'all did then. But that was the highlight of the movement, like to see the face girls, to see the performance kids, and to be out there celebrated in community just for being who you are and not being judged, and finding some place that people actually allowed you to come and show you and demonstrate your talent. So it was really a magical beginning for me, and it's one that I always valued. And
Mm, yeah, thank you. And could you maybe name some of those people or houses that you were inspired by of that time,
oh my
or
God,
that were hot at the time?
you're dating me. Don't you dare laugh, Arturo. So when I came out, it was like the House of Pendavis, the House of Jordan. Like y'all probably like, who are those? See, I'm dating myself. See, y'all, let me try to bring up some new houses. But
No, it's
no,
good
I
to
mean back
know.
in the day, like the Reverence is one of the oldest houses as well. It's a staple house, like the House of Lavasia, House of Richards, the House of Leviticus, and so many other houses were out back then. Some of the people that I met, because unbeknownst to everyone but Davey and a few people, I was first in Mugler when I first came to Ballroom. So I came through, and it was me, Nigel, all of us before like the split, and then the birth of our song and all of that. But I was like a little running around wild child Mugler, and I was under Eric Mugler at that time before I had ran into Jose Revlon. And once I met Jose Revlon, he was a little bangy like me, because back then to be a Mugler, you had to be a pretty kitty. And I didn't feel like I wanted to be a pretty kitty. I wanted to be in the mix. So I joined the House of Revlon, but some of those prominent people were like the Danielles, the Octavias, those names that people named the Moldavias. Those were some prominent women who I saw when I first came out, like Evie Sugar Milan, who's like literally right downstairs right now. And every time I see her, I fangirl. So it's like, these are the women who I looked up to, and that's what inspired me to be more into the culture before I was incarcerated. Yeah. So those are some houses that was out.
Yeah, thank you. Same question to you, Arturo. Who like inspired you? People, houses.
Um, the people who inspired me were like the people who I was around. So when I went to high school, I went to high school with Monica and Kevin Christian Bazaar, and those are my two best friends. So they inspired me because they helped me along my journey. And then our friends who always used to be around us after school, Tia and Imani. Yeah, so they were all in part of Ballroom, but they were actual friends because we hung out. And then from transitioning from that group of friends, it was Pony and Malachi. They were my best friends even before Ballroom. Um, we were in dance teams together since Pony met Pony when he was 15, and Malachi right after that. So we all grew up together. So that all those people inspired, we all inspired each other.
That's nice to hear.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And I do hear that a lot in ballroom, or at least in American ballroom, from certain generations to being in high school together with people. And yeah,
Hmm.
that's amazing. And on the flip side, what would you say was some of the biggest challenges or lessons from those early days? I think, yeah, Tabitha, you also already touched up a bit about your experiences from the stroll and the documentary. If you guys have not seen the stroll yet on HBO, definitely check it out. It's an amazing documentary.
I
Um,
think I think a lot of the challenges were then everything wasn't in your face like how it is now because of everything that my generation did is now it made it easier for this generation now. So, you know, it wasn't you couldn't be as feminine as you wanted to be now back then. You would definitely get beat up or yelled at or name called, or a plethora of things. So back then it was definitely a lot harder to be yourself. I will say that.
It definitely was. I can echo that. Some of the challenges for me was it wasn't really a challenge. It was also it was just like being a trans person early on. You know, there weren't a lot of opportunities for trans women to work. You only had two professions at that time. You were either a sex worker or you did drag shows and you were performing. Um, Performance was something that I never wanted to do. I never wanted to pretend to be something, and that's not knocking our drag community, but it was just something that I didn't feel called to do. But I was inspired by the girls who would like our drag shows became like our church spaces. They would do a lot of like church songs and a lot of pop songs. So the challenges for me at that time was actually being able to have gainful employment as a young trans person back then. Like, amen, of course, rightly so. One of your worst fears were probably just getting physically assaulted, but you were able to show up and sustain in ways that we weren't. So there is the duality of the struggle during that time, which a lot of us ended up doing sex work. So that's why I always preach that sex work saved my life. Sex work is work. And yeah, so those were some of the challenges, just being able to sustain yourself because hair, nails, and all that stuff was a mint back then. So it was a lot of money. So and back then money was different, right? The value of money was different. So a good night you could eat for a month, so now the challenges that we're facing today are some of the same challenges that we faced then. So somehow we're back to where we started, which makes these conversations so super important because without that history, you won't understand where your resilience comes. So yeah, thanks for that question.
yeah, thank you for sharing. Also, thank you to Claire for helping in preparing those questions and finalizing them. Is there something from that era, maybe like a value, a feeling, or a tradition that you think should like always stay in ballroom, or maybe got lost in ballroom?
I mean, there's so many different ways to look at that. So many people think
Yeah,
that because there's a lot.
yeah,
I don't think that anything should change.
yeah. No,
I,
me.
I, I'm going to be honest. I think that our culture in itself has global impact. What are we changing? Why do we need to change it? We're
Hmm.
sitting here on a Zoom link talking to people across the world about our culture. What needs to change? Or maybe the people just need to change to understand where we come from and why things are the way they are. I say that because one of the ever growing conversations is how realness kind of ostracizes, or it's ballroom not being this such inclusive space. And I'm like, that can be farthest from the truth. We have women who are icons, we have men who are icons, we have people with statuses who have been in ballroom for years. I don't think that it's an option of change or something that should change. I think we need to figure out what acclimates for us and what categories we can walk in and thrive in those categories. But are you trying to change a system that influences your culture? We appreciate you.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Arturo?
I agree.
You agree. And vice versa, just to nag a little. Is there anything that you think is missing from current ballroom? What you think like, oh, you missing the point, guys. Like this is
Community,
It, I think it depends on there's
definitely
levels to
that.
that. I think there's levels to that. Um, because that can be it can be yes to a lot of different things. There's a lot of things missing, but on what scale is it missing? Like things can be missing that we used to have back then was exclusivity, and that's mainly because of social media. So, we wouldn't know who was in the house until they walked the ball. We wouldn't know when film queens got their titties done and their nose done and their face done because they wasn't posting it because no one knew. So when we got to see them at a ball, it's like, oh wow, she in this house. Oh wow, she looks so good, and it brought the level of surprise back to ballroom, and we don't have that anymore. Just like a lot of the times we don't have time to do productions at balls anymore because there's so many people walking, and we miss the creativity and the fun that we used to have, and the element of surprise of, oh my God, Mika came out as Catwoman tonight. A lot of girls don't get an opportunity to do those things anymore because a lot of times balls always say there's no productions because there's no time to do productions. So especially in the States, so we miss out on so many moments.
Appreciate that, and that's one thing I do agree with you on that. Is when I'm almost confident we'll agree on a lot of things going forward. Um, One of the things that I think a lot of people forget about in the mix of all the shade and the stuff that happens in ballroom, that's a part of the culture. So let's not excuse that, right? Um, that's what breeds the competition. I think what ballroom is missing at times is the level of sportsmanship and community. Like
Mhm.
when I go to balls, of course I'm going and I want to win, but it can only be one. And
Mhm.
if you don't win, it doesn't define that you're not somehow a winner, or you're not like this exceptional dancer, or you didn't have face, or you weren't real that night. It doesn't take away from who you are as an individual. I think
Right.
the community piece, like what I'm excited, aside from the fact that I'm getting my things at the ball. Um, I love being in community.
Yeah.
Like it's about having a drink with my friends. It's about watching people get out there and break their backs and put
Mhm.
on the extravagant gowns. And it's only for a second. After the 8 to 10 hours, the ball is over, guys. The doors are closing. People are going home to those who have homes. People are going back to work. I think people are forgetting the importance of coming together for this moment and finding joy in the face of all the adversity that we face daily. That's what people are missing. They're
Mhm.
coming in with these attitudes and these airs, and they're like, I'm this, and I'm like, girl, go sit down. You ain't like you've been moaning a month. Go sit down. Like, come back when you find that joy. You know what I'm saying? Because if you come in bitter, ballroom was never intended to be a safe space. And I think that's another nuanced conversation. It was a space that we had to survive and celebrate each other. Who
Mhm.
you hang out with and who you navigate with, those things create a level of safety. We create that safety, just like we created ballroom. So how does all this other stuff fit in? I have no idea, but it needs to stop.
Word, Tabytha, mic drop. Thank you for sharing. I definitely agree on what both of you said. Yeah. So looking at the present, are there any trends or innovations? It can be ballroom, but it could also be maybe adjacent to ballroom that like really excite you.
Until I got out there, so here's me telling on myself. Um, when I got out there, it was the first time I think we went to Ballroom together. So shouts to the House of Saint Laurent for always pitching me and always looking
Hmm.
to collaborate with me. At that time when I came out there, I was working for the Commission on Human Rights here in the States, and I was able to meet with the ambassador of, German, Swiss embassy, and we had a great conversation around the importance of community. And I remember performance came on. Do you remember, Georgina? I had like this perplexed look on my face, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what are all these categories for? Right? And I was like, non-binary performance. What are we doing? It's performance. They're just fucking dancing. Why does identity have to be in this space like that? It's performance. Let everybody dance. And I don't know if they're here. My God, they're gonna kill me. But you know their names because I love them and I'm sorry. So if you're not here and I don't say your name, please forgive me. And they pulled me aside because I wanted to know. And it was an eye-opening experience to hear them say that I don't want to have to conform to an identity just to be able to dance. And stuff about the for my own in this space. And that was the thing that I'm excited about. So now when I travel abroad, I look for those nuanced conversations that allow other people to really express themselves, and be seen in that space because culturally, like ballroom is a black space, started by black women. You know what I'm saying? So when we travel overseas, it kind of gets diluted a little bit. You see how the impact it has. And culturally, if you're not respecting, the people who actually created the space for us to have it, then are you really holding a safe space? So that's why I feel ballroom is not safe. But the things that I'm excited for the most is the expansion of categories, the incorporation of talent, and how everybody's able to show up. I always have a good time when I go out, when I travel out of the states. And thank you all for having me. I hope I'm not hurting anyone's feelings, but just want to be honest with the rest of the day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're good. Thank you. Same question for you, Arturo. Is there something that excites you nowadays?
I think the only thing excites me is the community part because the competitive part it gets very draining, and it gets sometimes too competitive, and a lot of people take the fun out of it. So the community part, meaning like seeing my friends who are still in ballroom that I don't be around a lot, and I get to see them and hang out with them and catch up. Those are the best times to go into a ball, especially even when I was walking balls back then. Sometimes the best times were when I wasn't walking. I was just in the back of the ball, having a great time with everybody. So I think community has always been one of the best things for me in ballroom.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely precious. And yeah, now our community is very visible, or the community that was created was very visible. Ballroom is on TV, fashion, social media. How do you feel about that mainstream exposure? Do you think it's created more opportunities or more misunderstandings?
Definitely both. I definitely think is of course it's created more opportunities because it's so much. Okay, one, if it wasn't for social media, even though it has good and its bad moments, if it wasn't for social media, we'd have never started traveling to different countries for ballroom. We would have never known about the countries having their ballroom scenes and the opportunities to travel there. So social media has definitely helped in that way. But of course, TV, television, and and all those things also take ballroom to a different level. Of course, Legendary and Pose and My House and all the documentaries is out, so it gives everyone awareness about the community and also puts a big spotlight on the community. But of course, also with a spotlight, there comes all the negativity about the community that people who aren't in it don't know what it's actually about or what we're even doing. So those could be the negatives, and even the people in ballroom can be negative about even the positive things that we're doing publicly, because a lot of people feel like it should be underground still and not public. But at the end of the day, it's 2025. How long do they think we could, hide under a rock?
Right.
You can't hide what's you can't take greatness and hide it under a rock but for so long. People are gonna want a piece of it. People are gonna want to see it. People are gonna want to know about it. So if it is gonna, people are gonna want to know about it. You just have to take it and put it in the best light possible. So
Agree.
Yeah, thank you.
1,000% agree.
Same question to you, Tabytha.
Rephrase it for me because I think that he really answered it the right
Yeah, yeah,
way.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, what do you, I mean, you've also been exposed in media, maybe also from the flip side, both of you. What did that visibility feel like for you, being
I
on?
think so. So mine is very different and nuanced, right?
mhm.
Um, I've been an educator for a while and telling my story about like how we have been resilient as a community. Um, I never thought that I would see myself on a screen. Like that wasn't something that I was prepared for. For someone who was actually incarcerated for so many years, coming home, because you got to think about it. Like I dated myself earlier when I was incarcerated, you had two-way pagers. You couldn't
Mhm.
literally pick up a phone and see someone on the other side of the phone. So I was already spooked out when I saw that. I was like, well, I want one of those. I want to talk to people. I want to see people. So when I was asked to, contribute to polls like my journey of, pre-transitioning and stuff like that, um, no one knew. Like none of us knew. I just got a phone call and it was like, "Hey, you're going to Sundance," and I'm like, "What? What am I going to Sundance for?" And we got the Peabody Award, we were nominated for an Emmy. So all those experiences on how our stories shape so many cultures and intersects with so many struggles that other people across the world are experiencing. So when we're in this moment where social media is so accessible, that people can go to our culture, learn about us, Google us, see Arturo, know who the House of Mugler is, House on Fire, so many other things. I think media has put us front facing, right? And I think that it is too late at this moment to go back. It is too late to go back into the shadows. And I also believe that we work too hard to go back to the fucking shadows. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think that we should want to go back because there we were surviving. Some of us are thriving now. Some of us have opportunities to be sustainable. Like, who would have thought a convicted felon would be traveling across the world and be on TV screens and like those things were not accessible. So when we talk about the power of media is very important. I think it gives everyone unfiltered access to us, but I also think that there needs to be some gatekeeping on who access us. So I can understand why some people wanted to go back because they feel as though it's in too many people's hands and it's not a clear representation of who we are. So
Mhm.
some of that representation throughout media has become watered down, diluted, open to whatever interpretation that people may feel that the culture is. So it's great when you have people like Arturo, Asia, Temperance, Michael Robeson, and so many Genovia, so many other names that have traveled to bring the culture and its authenticity to our siblings So I think that, it has its pros and its cons. I can understand why people feel that way, but I also know the importance of us continuing to be the global impact that we are as a community.
Yeah, I think what one, I think I'll say this to Tabytha. I don't think I ever told you. When we watched your documentary, that's when everybody fell in love with you. Like so many people who knew you just from high and by. We watched the thing and it was like it humanized you. It made people really love you in a different
Thank
way.
you.
Like seriously.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Many people have said that because some people just felt like I came out of nowhere, like this academic, smart girl who just knew her way around. And I remember when I first looked at the show and I had an anxiety attack.
Mm.
Like these are stories that people really don't know. Like I've shared it on the podcast, but I lost it. And
Hmm.
I lost it to the point that I didn't realize I was having an anxiety attack.
Mm.
I kept telling everybody, I'm okay. I'm fine. And it was like, no, 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 no. Dominique was like, open the windows, take her outside. And I was like wondering why everyone was holding me. And it was in then, oh my God, it was in then that I really felt like the community really understood and I felt vulnerable and seen. So
Hmm.
it affirms me when you say that people fall in love with me because it was that vulnerable moment of me opening myself
Hmm.
to the community that I love.
Yeah.
So thank you for saying that. I mean, a lot of people have, see me as an anomaly, right? Because normally when we were incarcerated and injustices that we face as queer people, we normally don't come out the way we go in at
Hmm.
times. So this is the importance of having empathy for each other when we're in these spaces, because you never know what someone has overcome or gone through. So it's important that we
Yeah.
love on each other even before we get to see who the real person is.
Hmm.
Thank you for that. Ugh,
Of course.
you got me all warm and fuzzy. Oh my God. Seriously. They're
Okay,
like,
well,
who the
I'll
hell
let
is
you
this
go.
woman? They're like, who is she? Google me.
Yeah. Oh
But
my.
also to piggyback off of the question that you asked her, um, with the gatekeeping, I think there has to be a slight lock on that door, um, because a lot of people are trying to replicate what they see and don't know what the hell they're doing, especially
At all.
other countries. Um, that's not the states. um, I've see stuff on social media, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" It's like a mockery of ballroom, and they might not think it's a mockery because they're doing the best that they can, but the best isn't good enough, and they just don't know better yet. So it would be great to have like an international, like a coalition where people who want to have balls or have questions about ballroom, or, how it should be done, what can we do? Is this a category? Because a lot of people hit me up, is this category right? Because she says blah, blah, blah. Or should, non-binary have realness? And like stuff like all these categories of questions that people have that they don't know the answers to. So it might be great to have like one place where people can ask those questions and get the right answers.
So
Yeah.
no, they can't. I'll answer that right here. So what are we defining? Right, I'll answer the question for you. If anyone is confused, should there be a non-binary realness? The answer would be emphatically no. Not because we don't think that they're valid, but because realness is steeped in the ability to live to be representation of what you're transitioning to. It's steeped in a binary construct. So it's either male or female. And because villainous was steeped in safety, not the duality of identity, it was so you would be able to make it home safely without getting your head busted. So the more that you were aligned with who you were transitioning to be, the better. Um, it is validating, right? You're talking to a girl who walks the streets every day and who is the first 5K, and I'll say that again, ain't a bitch beat me yet for that category. My category. They've beaten me. I've taken some L's. I just took one from Courtney. I gotta get my lick back. But but however, what I will say is that it's a conundrum in itself because non-binary is not supposed to conform to any gender. So what are we judging?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Feel
Since
free to walk runway, mermaid, and did it. Like feel free to walk runway, performance, phase, and so
yeah,
many other things. Just leave wellness alone.
that part. Yeah. Yeah, you talked about authenticity and also the international part of ballroom. So how do you feel like houses and leadership kind of feed into holding that authenticity or maybe evolving it? Because also certain things might be appropriation if we hold it too authentic,
I think
you know?
we
And yeah, and how, or in general, yeah.
I
How,
think I think it's important. I'm sorry, I just want to jump right in because I gotta
Yeah.
give you your flowers. I gotta give you your flowers, Georgina. I think when a person is able to travel abroad and learn from the States and bring that information back when it's unfiltered and not self-serving, like I'm this and you all of that, because I've been there without understanding that people may not have access. But being able to bring the people to the people is a gift in itself. So I think when you have leadership in place that is really trusted in community and will be able to feed that community through the resources that they get from the states, those are the leaders that need to be in position. Not everybody needs to be a mother, not everybody needs to be a father because you got 10, 12, 15 wins. Because that may be, or you may be a great competitor, and that is great for you. But leadership requires a little bit more than that. Who are you building up and back of you? Can you have to be able to create space for others? So I'm able to determine leaders by who the hell is following them. And my experience in your house has been one of top tier. So I will say that. Um, I will say that. Like the Saint Laurent always treat me with respect, and that comes from your leadership. So I'll say
Yeah.
that.
I was gonna say the same exact thing. I was gonna say they can start by following you because I think even before Saint Laurent, even when you were a Melody, you always had the knowledge and the respect to find out what's the right thing to do for your house. And I think a lot of times, um, if the parents or leaders in the house aren't a part of mainstream houses where they can ask leaders, like like Gucci's can ask Jack, Mugler's can ask me, other house can ask somebody who's been in the scene for long enough. Those are the ones who seem to have like a harder time on a grasp of what it should be or what it shouldn't be, unless they have great leaders. Because even like the Lingeries, when they first started, they had great leadership. They started with their
They
own.
like, look, they like, what? Up there, like, oh, they're like, what? Look at the lingerie. They excited. Come on, that mermaid section got lit right now.
Yeah, they,
Come on,
they
lingerie.
they created their own space, but still respected what ballroom was. So I think it's all about, like you said, you'll see by who follows which leader. So it depends. It really does depend.
and is there any advice you could say, like how could the community better support new members entering the scene?
New members of
Yeah,
their house or just the ballroom scene in general?
just the scene in general, I would say, yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
do.
very
I
broad
do.
because okay, if you're coming into the scene very new, I always ask them out in the Kiki house now because that allows them to get some kind of knowledge of what ballroom is with their peers first. We didn't have that opportunity before. It was you in the mainstream house at 16 and you're gonna walk this ball. You're gonna sneak out the house and come walk. But now they have options to join mainstream first or join Kiki first. And I usually tell anyone who comes into the scene that's fresh, to start in Kiki, just so you can build your confidence and your tough skin and your knowledge before you join mainstream.
I agree. I think if it's new, depending on like, because when you say new, I was gonna jump in with some other things until um, we went to Arturo mentioned the Kiki scene because I didn't know whether new meant young. or older?
Well,
Because, no, I just say that
yeah.
because there were other things I was thinking about. Like if someone who was not a youth and comes to your house, right? And they want to be in your house. I think having some information that I think is important to our community because we don't want to overlook those things. I think well for me, like because my house is heavy within like movement work, like we definitely have like sexual harassment trainings, the history of the house, and also like harm reduction trainings because you never know what the kids are doing and you want them to feel safe telling you those things. So we try to nurture from within like a core family value. We know it's a competition, we know you're coming for a community, but when you leave here, we still want you to have those essential tools to be able to thrive outside of ballroom, to be able to determine what harm reduction looks like, what sexual harassment looks like. Because a lot of people will go harmed in spaces and not feel encouraged to speak out. So when they're joining our houses, we make sure that one, have the history, two, you know how to advocate and protect yourself, and three, that you definitely need to develop that skin to be on the floor. I have kids in my house now who have not hit the floor. They will Thursday, but I've had them under my arm for a while because they may think they have the talent, and that's great for the kiki scene.
Hmm.
It's not going to work over here. The touching, and that's not going to work here.
Hmm.
You're liable because if in the heat of the competition, you never know where someone is at, and you touch them, and now your whole wig is a frosted woman walk in your face. You understand what I'm saying? So it's about etiquette and ballroom culture, understanding and building them up to understand that a win or a loss doesn't define who you are.
Yeah.
And I always use this analogy because I have blowouts. Like my kids are not perfect. So, when they have the blowouts, I do sit and I'm like, well, listen, you have Olympic medalists who go every year, and there's only one that gets it. Do you think the rest of them go and like bury their head in the sand and just think that they're the worst athlete ever? No, they go back to training, they come back and they compete. We have to get back to I'll get you at the next ball instead of just holding things in and thinking that somehow defines you. So with new members, I try to build them up from the inside out. So like that when they're on the floor, they're prepared. We necessarily don't like kids coming to our house. The house that makes so much of it, just to be honest, like bitch, we not go over there with that. Because I just think that you have to be ready. And more often than not, when you are a young child looking for community, you need to be in around spaces that are your age. So if you need to be in those spaces, and when you come here, like what are you actually looking for, and are you able to articulate that as a youth? Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Also, from
Yeah.
a European's point of view, it's also a bit different because I feel like here the major and the Kiki, the age gap isn't that huge.
Oh,
So, yeah.
It's a bit
So
different, but it's not that crazy. Like,
right, what I would
oh,
use for mainstream, like what I would usually do is if an older member comes and they're too old for the Kiki, I would have them pair up with a mentor in their category who that can guide them on what to do for that category. But yes, in Europe and other countries, the age gap is not based on age there. It's based on experience. So I know people who just came into the Kiki scene at 40 something, but not because they want to be around kids, just because they're in a scene where they feel like they're just starting out and they want to, sorry, my wash machine going crazy. They want to be around people that's starting out and they don't go by age. They just going by, I don't know anything yet, so I'm gonna go to the Kiki scene and join and get the experience first.
yeah, pretty much that.
I'm a different breed. I'm like, no, no, no.
I know,
That's the baby space.
but that's the difference. That's the difference. There is not the baby space. It's totally opposite. It is
I
about
get it. No, I get it.
it's
I
the
get it.
experience.
And
So when
this
we,
is why I love having these conversations, especially I can't wait for you to hit the couch, Arturo. But this is why I love talking to the generation like behind me because they teach me those nuances. It's not about that, auntie. Like we all got to get outside at some point.
hmm
So Go ahead.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I love it. I heard you both talk about like also resilience and tough skin.
Hmm.
So I wonder if you could maybe touch up on that, also looking from like a generational perspective, because I do feel newer people coming into ballroom have like a different perception, or maybe it's also ballroom is sold differently nowadays in the media. So yeah,
It is, yeah. I think it is exactly that. Because back in the day, I remember staying at balls and I was standing there and seeing the house fathers smack their house kids in the face. It is totally different. Like you had to have tough skin back then. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. Like you would get cursed out by house parents, by house members. If you didn't come to the ball looking a certain way, they would reprimand you. You cannot come to the ball with durags and no haircuts, and it was a level of where you needed to be if you wanted to participate. But now, um, it
Oh,
is totally not that. I've seen people walk Vogue fan with no haircut or with a durag on, and I'm like, what?
see?
Like you don't want to look clean and presentable? It's like you're in a full bodysuit with your durag on. Now, I understand twisters want to keep that as a masculinity, so sometimes it can work for them. But if you're representing something that looks like a female personality, you want to give that energy. You don't want to come there in a do rag and not clean face. So the standard is different now than it was back then.
I agree. I will say this. I think wait, how do they define who's too old, experienced for Kiki? Where with Tabytha? Okay, I'll answer. I'm sorry because I'm on Zoom mostly. I'm always toggling before back and forth through comments, but I do want to respect the space, and I know that they said we can answer questions at the end, so I'll remind us to get back to that question.
you can answer it now, so it's fine. We
But
don't.
I think and I don't mean this in being insensitive, but I just think that people are sometimes oversensitive. And that's why I mean like development is important. Because like my sisters joke with me and call me mommy dearest because I'm very stern with my kids. And people are like, oh my God, she just yelled at them. And oh my God, one thing is for certain, two things is for sure. We're not hanging out, we're not drinking together because I'm your parent, I'm not your friend, and we need to keep that clear. What you do with your friends on your time is what you do with your friends. But when you come in here, I'm the parent. And I want you to act accordingly. And when you step on that floor, I want you to behave accordingly. I don't want to have to go and ask it. I'm not asking no judge why they chopped you. What? I'm not doing that. It's a competition. Baby, sit down. It's okay. We gonna work on it a little bit more and we get back out there. Whoops ah. We gonna clap for you as you lose. You gonna sit down and we'll talk about it later. But if you get up there and you start wilding out, just know that when you come back, I'm gonna be wilding out on you because it's an embarrassment to the brand. We don't
Hmm.
get involved in stuff like that. We're a family, we're in community, we come to compete. You know it can only be one winner, right? I know how it feels. One of my hardest battles to this day that kind of like made me real noticeable was when I battled Ashley Icon at the Red Ball and when she kind of like tried to humiliate me, but ended up it backfired. In that moment, I could have, like, as someone who was seen as a leader, I could have reacted
Hmm.
but no, I believe that leadership comes from top up. And I think that you should be able to instill that. So, um, for me, I think it's important that, people develop skin and it's because it's a competitive space.
Hmm.
So you gotta go in knowing that you want to win. Hell yeah. But if you don't, then what? So I'm always about the then what. I'm always about once they give out the cash and the trophy, where you gonna go sleep at? Who house you going to? Like all of that is important. So if
Hmm.
they only here before the win, then this is not the house for you. And I'm being clear because we want you to win. But if that's what your whole drive is, if you think because you go to this bar, you're gonna be Arturo tomorrow or Jack the next day, you setting your sights wrong.
Hmm.
You know, so it's about keeping them grounded in what this culture is. So I think that this generation now are very sensitive. Like you
What?
can't yell at them. You can't
Yeah.
do, oh Lord, they create this whole campaign on Facebook and now it's all over the world. And Arturo came and he said he's such a bad leader. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like he just tried to sharpen you. Like, what is going on here? Like I thought this is what you came here for. If you felt like you was that one, then you should have demonstrated that on the floor. Keep that for the floor.
And this goes especially to Germany. Germany is cancel country central.
Oh my God, I'm
So
so scared.
y'all have in the
Yeah.
German forum scene, y'all can't take everything so sensitive and everything so personal. And as a person who's been there in Germany since 2017,
Damn.
I've seen how y'all act and for everything. Everyone's sensitive about every single thing. Y'all cannot be sensitive about everything, or the scene is not gonna be meant for you.
What happened, Jim? You over there falling out. Was you one of the sensitive ones, darling? Mm-hmm. Okay. I see
Georgina,
Fergie like,
Georgina, how is it like in the cancel culture?
Yeah, I think it's also for me, I mean, I feel like it's also a very younger generational or maybe modern way of communicating to use social media as the first outlet to communicate your needs.
Yeah, it's just
So I think
horrible.
yeah, that's definitely a trend. Yeah, I feel like sometimes maybe contextualizing it a lot or maybe missing the ability to really, I think this is what I appreciate about the US, at least from visiting, that people are able to really let out their frustration and yell at each other, but they'll be fine after. The second after it's fine, and I feel like we're not really capable of holding that kind of space for our anger and being fine and understanding it might not be personal. But on the other hand, I also do agree certain things have to be addressed, and maybe we also
Yes,
don't know how.
absolutely. Certain things, yes, but it also doesn't need to be on social media.
oh.
Everything that happens in Germany is on social media. It's
I'm
it's,
like,
it's bad,
and then you
but
just get people involved in a situation that they don't even know nothing about, and they're
or,
passing opinions and they're
or
saying
shouldn't know
this.
about. Yeah,
And I'm like, well, how did they get involved? They're not even in your house. Like, what's going on here?
but
Like,
what that creates, and the reason why I say that about Germany is because the last ball I just went to, there's so much talent and so many gorgeous people there,
oh my God.
and people who don't even know that they need to be walking balls yet. Like there's so much gems. If you keep going the way you're going with cancel culture, it makes people not want to be a part of a scene because it makes it feel like it's negative. So that's why I say that don't fuck up your space when you have so many opportunities that can come your way.
Yeah,
I
no,
like that.
definitely.
So to answer the question, how do you define what's too old for the Kiki scene and where would you draw the line? So Fergie, my may differ from Arturo, so I'll say that off the bat because there was not a Kiki scene when I was coming up. For me, I just think that once you're 30, you should be exiting. I think that why are you so old? Like, because you have a lot of, how do I put this? You have a lot of elders who act like kids, and it's because they hang with kids all day. My mother used to say, if you lay down with dogs, they'll lick you in the face. So if you're around a bunch of teenagers all day and you're just doing what they're doing, are you really growing? You know, and because at that point you're no longer being a thought leader or someone who they can follow. You're in the mix with them, you're mixy with them, you're getting caught up in their drama, you're breaking up their fights, you're involved in their stuff. Give them their space, they have to grow. It's not your space, you had your time, get out. Like that's just how I feel. Like once you're 30, baby, you should be looking for a job. You should be telling them where to go get the connections at to get stable. Like it just has to be this phase out thing. I think you should stay away from the victims. That's just me. And I know Arturo may feel different, so I want to leave space for that, but I'm gonna answer your question. And I think 30 at times is stretching it too, because some people are a lot more mature and they need to get out of there. Because I just find that people go to the Kiki scene and they're like, yes, and then when they go to ballroom scene, the performance is given lackluster. But you just carried over there. I'm confused. It's not reading right. So it's like, if you want to be young forever, I know I do, but that ain't the way.
It's a sense of comfortability. That's why.
I got you.
But no, I agree. I agree with what you say about the age limit. What I was saying, mine is more about the international scene. Their rules are is a little bit different than ours here.
Oh my God, who do I want from
Yeah.
the European scene? Oh my God, what's her name?
Yeah. The rules are good.
Naima.
Wait, what? Who? Oh,
I'm sorry.
you're already on
Someone
the
in,
next question, Tabitha. Wait,
I'm
pause.
sorry.
Wait, pause, please.
I'm sorry. The next question was, is there anyone from the European scene you would be interested in having on Femme Queen Crazy Sexy Cool? Um, just because she's kind of controversial in a way with her standings. I think I love a lot of people, and I want to one day hopefully do a live stream with my girls from out there and just have like this whole couch flash out where people just come onto the couch and we can interview them one by one. Well, of course, we wouldn't know who they are. But like we could actually select the people to be featured on that episode, and people can just come and each guest would probably get like 20 minutes to be interviewed. But if I had to go off the top, because we've had Benny, we've had Gigi, I definitely, 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 definitely want to see Miss Naima on my couch. I need her on my couch. Get
Yeah.
that here. And of course, we almost, we was this close to getting Georgina to stop by and grace the couch, but our schedules conflicted. I was getting ready to tear that into. I wanted to get into what goes on in here because I need to know why this is important for someone like this as a black. But that's another conversation.
I have one last question on our list. And then I already see there's another question more, but if there's more question, please shoot them in the chat or text me privately if there's anything else you want to share. But our last official question before we open it up. If you could imagine ballroom 10 years from now, what would you want it to look like?
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a community centered person. So I would love to see a building that we own involved where people can come and they have like the first floor be like dance studios where dancers can go. You probably have those type of things out there. But behind the dance and behind the category, there's other needs. So like a second floor where people can go and get resources to live and to thrive and to have access to the things that they want. You know what I'm saying? We can have a space where we can have our own bars and make people pay to come see our culture since they want to steal it. You know what I'm saying? Make people come to see a ball. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what they're doing with Jellicle Cats, which is amazing. People are excited about Jellicle Cats. It's very ballroom, and we're breaking down our category and our culture to the larger people, but it's themed in a different way. People are paying high price sales to come and see that. What I would like to see for us for ballroom is we create our own narratives, we create our own podcasts, we create our own media where we have agency over what the world gets from us. Does that make sense? Like that's
No,
where I want to see us at.
no, I totally
Us.
agree. I totally agree. I think like with the museum that they had the exhibition, stuff like that. Like I think
Mhm.
as a community, which would be hard because because of everyone's ego. But I would love to see people put together a space where we have to rehearse for balls, or a space where we can actually have major balls, and that way we won't have to worry about trying to rent this space out, trying to rent this space out, how much this costs, rent this space out, all the rules and regulations. If we have a building where
Flowers.
we can rent it out, we have a place where we can call it our own, and we don't have to worry about any of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we not even rent it out, that we own,
Right.
that
So
we
other
own.
people can rent it out.
Right. So like, because there are people that love our culture. I say all the time, they love our culture, but they hate us.
Like
So, and that's the reality. They take our slang, they take our designers, they take our looks, you know, they take our film queen aesthetics,
yeah,
they put it on a major platform, they reap the benefits, and then we go back and only a few of us have eaten off of that plate. So if we can actually create something of our own and understand that within our own community, we have every fucking thing that we need. We have journalists, we have producers, we have dancers, we have teachers, we have parents, we have everything within our own community. We just need to figure out how we can, you know, begin to work together and remove the ego so we could be a sustainable community. So it won't be this thing where we're fearing who has it because we're keeping our culture for ourselves and we are inviting people in and not allowing them to take us.
yeah. Like if we had, say for instance, if we had a building and the building had um 3 dance rooms, 4 regular rooms, we had places where people could sleep. We have a big hall, like a big one place has a ballroom, or we can create a ballroom. It's an open space. If we had a building where we can create what we wanted to create, we won't have to worry about any of those things because we can do whatever we wanted to do with the building. Like it can be this week we rent house. We list who has spaces. Who wants which Kiki house needs to come rehearse. Which Main Street house need to have their meetings there. Which Thanksgiving time we having feed the homeless. We using that space for that. It's a hurricane. All the girls come here to sleep. Like if we just had a building, we could create what we needed it to be.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I vote for that, a building and the embassy in each country. Yes. I vote for
But
that.
sure, it can be housing the international girls when they come because how much it costs to come here. Because Archie does that, and it's amazing when all the girls go to have space at Archie Place. If we had a place where everyone know they can go there, like in Russia, they try to have Vogue schools. If we can use it for that, like teach them the right way, or just come here and practice. Like it's so many things we can do. So many things. We just need the space to do it.
Yeah, space and autonomy. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. We have two more questions in the chat. I think both touch a bit also on the standards, Kiki scene, major scene. I think I'll start with the one that touched up more on visual appearance and standards when walking a ball. Because right now, yeah, it seems to kind of fade away a bit. I think it's also because there's an oversaturation of balls every 2 weeks. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's just my opinion. So the question is, should we try to go back to these roots and try to keep a more higher standard? Or what do you feel also about, yeah, I guess between Kiki and Major Scene?
Well, I think it's a personal thing because you have to think of yourself and what the kind of standard you want to have for you. So if it's not about Kiki having the highest standard, it's about you having the highest standard for yourself and go somewhere, even Kiki or mainstream, that going to align with your personality and your values. I think the leaders should always want the kids to look their best and be their best and do their best. So that's just up to how you see the house that you join, or get to know them first
Yeah,
before you go, so you can see if they're Benji or not, or if you want a class, you can see what kind of sets you getting into first. What are your options?
yeah,
I appreciate that. Let's see. I think it's I think presentation is important, not just because you want to access space. I think presentation also says more to who you are. And I always want to present my best self and looking for ways that I can improve myself. So to answer that question, sorry, 1 second, because I'm also at work and I'm trying to send this email out without looking like I'm typing. So I'm sorry. They like, what is she doing? Like, all right. So I'm gonna go back to the question. Let me close out this. Okay. Oh my God, what is going on here? I'm all over the place. If y'all saw my swing right now, it's fucking crazy right now. I got Femme Queen Crazy Sexy Cool up front. The banking statement of it's crazy right now. Um, so I do think that presentation is important. The way it is right now is going away from its ballroom roots. Zion, I'm inclined to agree with you. Um, always needed to have your hair cut by when we get on social media as individuals and community. Try to go back to those routes we show and keep high standard when it comes to the major scene. The way it is right now, it's run away from it. Again, I think presentation is about presenting your best self at all times. Someone may not have had the money to get a haircut. And this is why I say that as parents, you have to be able to be resourceful. If you got somebody in your head that could do a lace front or get them a buzz cut, it is your responsibility to make sure that that child is not at the floor like that. If it embarrasses you, then you as the parent should address it and find the ways that, trust me, the parent, people don't understand how strong leadership is. It's a lot. Sometimes you take from yourself to make sure the next person has. And I'm
Oh,
okay with that.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've been there for my kids when they wanted to walk and they couldn't get this and I would order it because I want my kids to have what they need. So I think that we should keep the standards of best representation for these people, for our children, for our communities. And I think it's important that we figure out ways to do that. Jim, my love. My love, my love. Are we answering these questions before I move? Okay. Baby, first of all, from one wilderness girl to the next wilderness girl, cut the shit because you real as fuck. Okay. So what I will say is that it can be. That's the sport, right? Remember what I said in the beginning. You not winning a realness category does not determine your womanhood. It is a competition. And it is the spectator's choice or the judge's choice. You're not going to win everything. You may win sometimes, you may not. People are looking for aesthetics that are different. I understand that realness outside of the US is entirely different than realness over here. Because when I go, I'm like, girl, what? Why is she walking? You understand? But I can't say that because it's different. Just like body is different, culturally different. So depending on where you at, you have to understand the culture, and you got to be strategic. Like it does tear each other down. And we had this conversation last week on the podcast, and we're bringing it back this week because we have a few more touch points. But it's crazy how this particular thing keeps coming up about how we tear each other down. I think we're forgetting the competition piece. It's a competition. People talk shit when they play in space. Like it's all in sport. I was just at a ball and Courtney had grabbed my mouth and did all types of stuff. And they was like, oh my God, she touched her. She should have punched her in her face. And I'm like, what? Girl, we was having fun. That's my sis. I'm good with that. I didn't feel disrespected, but someone else may not have accepted that. Leave the room. So you being or experiencing that, it will make your skin tough. But don't lose your love for ballroom. Don't lose your love for yourself, and know that you are valid in how you show up in your space, whether so no matter what category it is. As long as you can make it home and put your bonnet on and get up and go outside the next day, baby, you're grand pride. Okay?
Hmm.
And I don't mean to interrupt. I'm really thankful
Mhm.
for that, but I meant more and also thank you for answering, but I wanted to specify more that I'm asking because I know the realness category is quite harsh and I get that. Like I do love how realness usually like runs and like how it usually goes down. Like everybody lives for that, obviously. But I was asking more about how outside of the category, how we as like trans girls tear each other down. Because I get it in the category because that's, it's competition. We're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be
So
like
you're saying outside.
outside of the category and like the femme queen categories, especially the community, because I do love the community. But as Arturo already said, like in Germany, like there's cancel culture and like people are really sensitive, and then also like the girls are getting like really nasty, even
Mm,
outside of the categories. So I'm
mm.
asking more like, how do you navigate this if you're even like if you're not in a competitive space, but these people still try you basically.
I want to tell you a general question, and I know that a general question is not going to answer your question immediately. So I want to start by saying that find your tribe,
Oh,
find your tribe, find your clique, and stay within your clique. You're never going to be able to combat ignorance and hate with ignorance and hate. You'll never get through to them because that says something more about them than it does you. Right? So when you respond back to them, then you are equal to them. But if you know that you're coming from a space where, and it hurts, right? It doesn't feel good. Of course, it doesn't feel good. I'm not trying to say, oh, just, let it roll off your shoulder. You're going to have a human reaction to it. But if at all possible, get around those who are going to also pour into you. It's important to navigate in the space that people who affirm and see. So when you're meeting those people who want to tear you down, you're already strong. Everybody doesn't like Tabytha. I get it. But it has never stopped Tabytha from living. And I have strong women around me who we pour into each other. And that's what you're gonna need. And you may not be able to find that right away. But when you do, you'll know. So I know that this is generic answer to what you're going through because if I could go over there, I would shake y'all all and tell y'all to cut the shit that we're fighting the outside people. The last thing we need to do is fight each other. But everybody doesn't understand that, right? So you just got to get around those who think like you and understand that there's a war going on. They're trying to erase us and eradicate us. Since I ain't got no smoke with you, that was the ballroom floor. And that's that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
try to spread kindness, so I really try to like to all the girls. I just
Stay the
really
hell
try to
away
be
from them.
kind.
They don't deserve your kindness then. Stay away from them. They don't deserve it. They
Or
deserve your silence.
and also expect it. Don't expect them to be nice. Don't expect anyone to be nice. Expect them always to be shady. So that way, if it does happen, you're not even thinking about it because you already knew it was coming.
Prepare for
Good
the
point.
worst kind of vibe.
Hmm
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fuck them hoes. Fuck them hoes. Question from Nokia.
Yes.
How does a young 007 in general youth navigate Kiki scene and scenes with the majority members? I'm gonna leave that for you. Go ahead, take that one. Because how does a young 007 in the general youth navigate the Kiki scene and the scene where the majority of the members are old? Arturo?
Okay, okay. Well, remember, are way older and more secure in the economy and housing. Is there an accessible book? So one, there's no way to manage it. I'll say just hang around the people who are your age, and there's no guide or book about ballroom, who could that you can get. You learn from experience, and you're gonna learn from the people around you. And you're gonna make mistakes or not make mistakes, but the fun part of it is doing it with your friends. So just find your friends, find people that you get along with, and enjoy the ride. There's no book. You don't need to be perfect.
I
Yeah.
think that, but if you want to learn some of
I
the
guess it's
culture,
more about like, is that, yeah. I would say
I
there is publications that center around ballroom,
Yeah, but
but not like,
for
those books.
educational purposes, you can find some things, but again, I to also add to what Arturo is saying, like there is no rule book or prefaces to how you like people are gonna go off the limb. Why? Because I would just go so far as to say the people who create ballroom are not in those spaces to actually create it in a way that seems welcoming. Um, like what you're experiencing and the education you need to know comes outside of the scope of the Kiki thing. That's a personal journey that you have to go and investigate it and look for yourself. So I would encourage you to look for like movies like Paris is Burning or Paris is Burning 2, Pose, like do your research, look for articles that feature ballroom scene and read upon that and learn that. But when you get into those spaces where there's a lot older people who may not, um, who are more secure in their housing, this is what I tell you that you have to navigate to are the ones who are willing to pour into your development. Everyone's not going to do that. And in fact, they don't have to. You understand? The notion of family is something that we use for safety, but people are actually grown adults being members of things that they feel they love. So you have to keep in mind why you love it and hold that here. And if you can't be a part of it right now because everything is not working out for you economically or housing wise, then don't be involved in right now. Focus on your priorities first. Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
I know you want to have fun, but it ain't going nowhere. Ballroom has been here how long? It ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. Get it together, then come back. You ain't gonna miss nothing. And that person who tried you, you'll be slaying them. And they'll be like, oh my God, then they'll be coming to you. So it happens, right? There is no rule book. Arturo is right. There is like no book that's going to give you like everything you need in Borg. But you have to find your resources. I heard Germany has a lot of what was it, the peers? I forget where it's at where they do services and they give out services. What's the name of it again?
The ballroom
It's an
community?
organization.
Yeah.
Right. Like utilize those spaces because like sometimes it's gonna be hard. It really is not like some of these questions, like Angel came up, because you're not gonna throw that question in here and don't came up, honey. Angel came up, baby. Let us see you since you gonna ask us how we feel about the international scene, boo. Come on, you ready? You really wanna know? Nah, but look, Angel, look, people that not huh?
Sorry, I'm literally all naked, like coming out of the shower, but
Oh, so you one of those that throw the rock and hide your hand, like, bloop, let me get them before they leave, y'all, so we can really get the tea. Yeah, how they really feel
Closing
about us.
question. How do you feel about us? No.
I'll let Arturo go first because Arturo has explored this scene more over there than me, so that's more of an Arturo question.
What's the question?
I repeat it.
Uh,
She wanted to know how you feel about the international scene since it never will be the same as in the States, obviously. What do you think is the most important thing for the leaders abroad to act on or to maintain for the authenticity of ballroom?
Um, well, I love the international scene. Um, to me, I rather for me, I rather go to a ball internationally than go to a ball in the States. Because internationally, ballroom isn't as stressed out as America. Like you still get to have fun in international. Um, People are happy. People are supporting each other. Some things they don't do in America. We would chant for each other and scream for each other, and they don't do those things here. So,
sure.
um, in that way, I prefer going to balls abroad than I do in America. Um, some leaders can do abroad that can help them maintain the integrity would be, um, I think they just need to ask questions and
Oh,
not
they
just do,
tried it.
huh?
They tried it in the comments. Here go Jim with see what I'm saying? They really try to get us before we leave. Like,
Baby,
and
their time is up.
the,
6 minutes. Shoot.
and the,
What do you
and
want
the,
to share?
and
Fire
the
us.
in the interest of time.
Wrap it up.
They trying to get us, baby. They said, So I feel the same way as Arturo. Like there's an energy that the European chapters have that is lost on the stage. And it's that energy of camaraderie. Don't lose that. Because when it's y'all don't even be in the same houses and y'all be clapping and going up for each other and giving each other the roses. Don't lose that. If y'all lose that, forget it. That's what we're missing up here to answer both your questions, Jim. So what we're missing is the spirit of ballroom at times. Sometimes it gets so diluted over here because it's so strict and it became political. And I see it happening over there. I'm afraid for y'all. Sometimes it can be political over there too. But what I will say is that don't lose the joy of coming together in community and make sure you're with some people who you're ready to have a good time with. Because whatever's happening over there, as long as y'all having a good time, my night is fun. So what I am looking forward to in the US is I'm getting my motherfucking Spanish at the Mugler ball. What's that? So I'm super, super happy about that. I'm happy about, that I'm gonna be, finally stepping into my things and getting my things finally. Arturo, if you didn't know and you just found out, then I said, open your mouth.
I already know.
Oh, but I want to know who else on that list. I'm gonna call you. 'Cause I need some
Oh,
names.
the same way you want me to say nothing. I ain't saying.
Oh, that is so fierce. Well, it's a few of us that are getting our things at the Mugler bar, and it's like
I
a
love
full
that.
circle moment to me because Mugler was like, I was in there for like probably 3 weeks before they, before they let me go. But shouts out before I leave. I do want to shout out Zion Revlon. What's good, Zion? REVLOLON. Yes.
We want to thank both of you for joining the call today, for taking time and sharing your knowledge with us. It's really highly appreciated. And I think there's a lot of gems that we took from today, as always. So, yeah, thank you very much for taking the time before this important Mugler Ball weekend, as somebody is being in the house of
Listen,
Mugler who must be busy with
listen,
everything.
you see
So
my
I
nails, they're
appreciate
already
it.
chrome. I'm getting ready. I'm gonna be the futuristic film queen for your life. Get ready, Mugler. Strap on. The Margielas are storming. Make no effort. We are coming.
We'll be watching you online and wishing you
It
well.
might just be me. I'm talking a good one, but I'm definitely coming to term there. We have some surprises.
Work.
Yeah, so I'll see you all. Listen, turn into Femme Queen Crazy, Sexy, Cool, and tell Naima I want her on the couch.
We'll let her know.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Bye, the
Bye,
elements.
y'all.
Bye, mermaids and furries and gems and samayas and diamonds and
So much.
Gone Angel and oh, Angel, you popped out. What's that?
Angel
Yo.
popped out.
You said to put
Bye,
my camera
y'all.
on. I put my
Bye.
camera
Hey, I see y'all. Bye bye.
on. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao,
Bye.
ciao, ciao. That was amazing. Bye bye.